I always believed that the last true enemy for the Straw Hat Pirates would be the world government since Charmandy. I never believed that the Gorosei would be the final villains. Just look at how we all reacted to the review of Kaido. Oda would never make those old men the last boss. I believe that Oda would make the last enemy of the series to be based on one of the biggest conspiracy theories, a myth in our current day and time. Because if the Celestial Dragons was, the rulers of some kingdoms or someone like Akainu would have dethroned them centuries ago, considering their harsh rule. One of those leaders includes Im-sama, and this is where our theory begins, talking about her true name, her day of fruit, and why it may be Blackbeard who will be the one to stop her. Hi everyone, Flying Panda, the One Piece theorist.
One Piece Unleashed! Im-sama's mind-blowing devil fruit powers!
Hi everyone, it's Flying Panda. When I was researching for my connections of Im-sama with my friends Draco and Literary Anime, we found connections with our religious and cultural figures. In my previous video, I came across Buddhism, but now we also found Amun from ancient Egyptian religion. Amun was the ancient god of the sun and the air. Amun was written as Im Egyptian, his name means the hidden one, invisible, mysterious of form, and unlike most of our Egyptian gods, he was considered Lord of all who encompassed every aspect of creation. Like how Im-sama is ruling over the world government, is free to do whatever he or she pleases with its inhabitants like a god. Originally, Im, or Amun, was considered no more powerful or significant than the other gods who were part of the Odod, but represents the elements of hiddenness or obscurity, while the others represent more clearly defined concepts such as darkness, water, infinity. But later on, after 1782 BCE, in Egyptian during the New Kingdom, Im was hailed as the self-created one and king of the gods who has created all things including himself. He was associated with the sun god Ra and became Amun-Ra, king of the gods. If Im-sama was the victor of the war in the Void Century against the ancient kingdoms and became the ruler of the 20 kings, 19 if you don't count the Nefertaris, who became the Celestial Dragons, the gods Im-sama is the king of the gods. Amun, who later became known as Amun-Ra in Egypt, later became worshipped in ancient Libya, Nubia and Greece as Zeus Amun. Zeus Amun later came to be known as Zeus in Greece, and the name has stayed as it is even to this day. Anyways, I won't talk about Zeus due to it being with Big Mom, and until I come up with a mind-blowing theory, let's leave it there. Now you understand the first part of Amun-Ra, let's go on to the second part of the theory. Now, there was a new king of Egypt who wanted everyone to worship one god instead of Amun-Ra and the other gods. Akhenaten from 1353 BCE of ancient Egypt of the Ancient Dynasty, who established a new cult dedicated to Aten, the sun disk. Unlike the traditional ritual prescribed for most Egyptians' deities, which is carried out in small darkened sanctuaries in the innermost breaks of their temples, this king, devotion to the Aten was celebrated through the presentation of foodstuff on large numbers of offering tables and made in open sunlight. At or shortly after the time of his accession, this king seems to have married the chief queen of his reign, Nefertiti. Nefertiti, does his name sound familiar to you? Well, it should, because that is similar to Vivi's surname, Nefertari. The surname Nefertari is an ancient Egyptian name meaning the most beautiful or most wonderful. It was a word often to describe Egyptian queens and princesses. Oda-san admitted the Arabasta arc was based around ancient Egypt, but apparently had no clue on what the word meant when he chose the name. Do you think the connection stops there? No way! There's also a connection with Vivi's mother, Nefertari Titi. Her name is similar to that of the Egyptian queen. It also makes up the last part of the famous queen Nefertiti's name. Now back to the Egyptian story. Nefertiti played a prominent role in the cult of the sun god known as the Aten. By the end of the Egyptian king Akhenafen's 5th year, the Aten has become Egypt's dominant national god. Here, Nefertiti continued to play an important religious role, worshipping alongside her husband and serving as the female element in a divine triad form by the god Aten, Akhenaten, and his queen. Although nothing is known of Nefertiti's parentage, she did have a young sister, or Najmet. Nefertiti bore 6 daughters within 10 years of her marriage, the elder 3 being born at Thebes, the younger 3 at Akhenaten. Now let's head back to the One Piece to show the connections. Starting with Arabasta, which has a long history. According to Nico Robin, the country has existed since 500 years before the Void Century, perhaps even longer. The royal palace of Alabana predates the kingdom itself, having existed for around 4,000 years. 800 years ago, the Nefertari royal family was one of the 20 royal families who founded the world government. Notably, they're the only family to remain in rule of their own country, rather than moving to Marijoa and letting new royalty take over. Many things about and relating to Alabasta, like the geography, architecture, and culture, also heavily resembles elements of ancient Egypt and the modern Middle East. Alabasta has all the settings to be related to the connection with Egypt with Amun-Ra, Aten, and Im-sama. Now to part 3. In Marijoa, Im went to the room of flowers and cut apart Luffy and Blackbeard's bounty posters, while also examining pictures of the Princess Shirahoshi and Nefertari Vivi. Little is known about Im's personality, but they have developed a particular interest in Monkey D. Luffy, Marshall D. Teach, Shirahoshi, and Nefertari Vivi. During the events of the Leveille, Im kept wanted posters or photos of all 4 on their persons. Later, Im cut apart both Luffy and Blackbeard's poster, as well as stabbed Shirahoshi's picture with a dagger, leaving Vivi's. When the Leveille began, Im met with the 5 elders while sitting on the empty throne. The elders requested that Im reveal the name of the light that needs to be extinguished from history. By looking at these facts, it seems all of the names will be eliminated, barring Vivi. This does not seem to be a coincidence to me. I believe Im-sama is from Arabasta. Yes, Arabasta, and this is all starting to make sense to me now. This is why when Alabasta refused to move to Marijoa, they did not get punished. Im-sama refused to punish them because that is her motherland. Im-sama's real name could be Nefertari Im. Sounds weird, right? But bear with me. I believe that she moved to Marijoa whilst her remaining family stayed behind. This makes sense considering that Nefertiti did have a younger sister named Manujmet. God, I'm bad at names. While the other members of her family did not believe in one rule, being the world government, she did. The same as Nefertiti believed in one god instead of many other gods. Don't want to talk about more coincidences, but her surname Nefertari may also be based on Nefertari Merimnet, the wife of the famed pharaoh Ramesses the Great. Merimnet means beloved of the goddess Mut, and did you know who Mer was married to? She came to prominence during the 18th dynasty, 1539 to 1292 BCE, as the companion of the god Amun. Another god that they don't believe in. Im-sama was always meant to separate from the other Nefertari family members. Now, the Nefertari family is in trouble for knowing too much, and it might be the end of Cobra. I said many times before, he's very sickly and old, and by doing this, he won't be as upset if he was healthy if he was to be taken down during the Leveille. Might mean the return of Vivi to the Straw Hats if this was meant to happen. I don't know yet how Im-sama came to be the top of the world, but it may have to do with her marriage with her husband, but I don't want to say it was Joy Boy or anyone because I can't find any connection yet. But one thing I do believe is that Im, just like how Vivi looks like her mother Titi, also bears a striking resemblance to them. Now I want to talk about her devil fruit powers, and it relates to Aten or even Amun-Ra. Aten was associated oftentimes with the sun god Ra. Ra was the ancient Egyptian solar deity and a major god in ancient Egyptian religion. Ra is depicted with a human body and a bird-like face with Aten's right above his head. It was believed that forms of life were believed to have been created by Ra. The Egyptians highly worshipped the sun, so it made sense for them to worship Ra as well. Later, in Amarna period, there was a change in pantheon, and the Ra and Aten were separated. They started to be seen separately instead of always together. The symbol of the Arabasta kingdom is a sun consisting of a circle with 8 carved drops shaped around it. It was first revealed in chapter 130 when Vivi read about the war in Arabasta in the newspapers, a flashback of the kingdom's flag being burned is shown. The flag bears a sun sign. The shield of an Arabasta soldier in chapter 182 also shows this symbol. It is also seen on the sleeves of Sanji's overcoat and on Inagram's fan when he disguises Vivi. The latter only has 5 shapes around the circle though. Further, a Denden Mushi seen in chapter 216 shows a 6-shaped symbol. So final part. So I theorize that Im-sama's devil fruit is the sun devil fruit. Comparing to the light fruit from Kizaru, the sun fruit not only has light but has heat as well. What a powerful fruit for one of the final bosses of One Piece. With this fruit being the symbol for a lot of clans in One Piece, I believe this was the fruit of the aging kingdom, and when it was fallen, is now on the wrong hands and with the world government. This special Logia type is surely the second strongest Logia in One Piece. Now you know it's the second strongest. Now you will understand why Blackbeard has the strongest and why he can defeat Im-sama's power. Blackbeard's Darkness Devil Fruit is said to be the strongest Logia type, though this is self-proclaimed by Blackbeard isn't far from the truth. Just how strong is the power of the darkness? When people think of darkness, they almost immediately think of light. That's because living forms grow within the light, seek and evolve from it. Light is the main source of life. It has the power to radiate energy which fuels the source of our food and even our food's food. This all stimulates from our sun. Our is our main source of light. It is a source of heat which we need and what gives all living things the energy to grow on our planet. With all this in mind, wouldn't the power of the light devil fruit or even the flare fruit be considered the most powerful of the Logia types? Truth be told, they are undoubtedly strong but pale in comparison to the power of darkness. We as people who seek the light have grown to believe that light beats darkness as light shines through the dark. But light is a limited energy source. Ask yourself, what if all the lights go out? What would happen? Would it be in a state of total darkness? Darkness has for many centuries been considered evil as opposed to light being good. Darkness has no such nature about it. That is to say, it doesn't have an evil nature. Darkness is the oldest form of matter that we know of, is what life was created from and makes up most part of the known universe. When you look up at the night sky, what you see is a black canvas, littered by spots of light or stars. Try to imagine each of them, lights going out one at a time, with the end result of our own sun burning out and becoming what's known as a dwarf star. What we'll be left with? Complete and total darkness. The idea of this alone gives you an idea of depth of darkness as opposed to the light. Light might shine in the darkness, but light is limited, whereas darkness has no such limit. The same is true for Darkness Devil Fruit. Blackbeard wasn't kidding when he said it was the strongest, as his power is limitless. Blackbeard has become, in a sense, the oldest of known matter. Now you know why Blackbeard's fruit is the strongest. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. What do you think? Thanks to my friends Draco and Legendary Anime for helping me out. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. Leave your comments down below. Please like, and if you haven't, please subscribe to Flying Panda, and of course, join our Discord. As you know, we got a Twitter account, meet us there. We got a Facebook, join us there. And also we got a Discord channel with over 2,000 members. We're a great admin team, great members. We always talk about our One Piece theories in this channel. We always talk about One Piece in general. We talk about films. We talk about games. So if you haven't already, see you there on the Discord channel.
Flying Panda.
One thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind, I designed this rhyme. Explain in due time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as a pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock ticks life away, it's so unreal. Didn't look out below. What time fly through out the window. Trying to hold on, but didn't even know. I wasted it all just to watch you go. I kept everything inside, even though I tried. It all fell apart. What it meant to be will eventually be a memory of a time when I tried
so hard. Flying Panda. Yeah. Flying Panda. Here we go now.